40. All right. A Scooch plan.
Can y'all turn the camera so we can see the screen?
Let me ring you back here in a minute, all right? Okay. Well, I guess you know who I want to see. Jasper, you've been with us here now for, what, 5 years now? No, 6. 6 years. You got a lot of things going for you. You're a smart young man. You know how to handle people. And you're good with the books. So I don't particularly want to be doing this. But we are running a business here. 53,000 acres. Now that's quite a bit of soil. We got renters whose livelihoods depend on me keeping things fair and square. On you, keeping things fair and square. Jasper, dadgummit, how could you keep on doing it? Did you think I wouldn't hear about it? Well, heck, every time I go down to Egypt, blue and white, someone's coming up and telling me some story about how Jasper's mismanaging the farm's property. Well, this time you've gone too far. Jasper, look at me. Look at me. Do you think I was just going to sit on my back behind and turn a blind eye to your what'd you say about what old Johnson? What old Johnson was doing to Jim Gleason last month? Misappropriation of resources. Is that what you call what you've been up to? Huh? Misappropriation of resources? Misappropriation of my foot. There's another word for it. We both know what it is. Stealing, plain and simple. Well, you got to say for yourself. Richard says that I'll go to Sheriff Williams about it. Says law ought to know. He's right. Sheriff wouldn't take too kindly to the kind of dealings you've been up to. I told him that wasn't necessary. My farm. Guess I do what I want with it. All right, then. I'm gonna get the accounting books, and when you get back, be sure to give Lois those truck keys. Now, I don't want to hear another word about it. I've been made up my mind. Can't tolerate that kind of behavior around here. I'm supposed to be over at Doc Richards' office. Well, you know what you got to do, so go on and get to it. Lois, what in the world are you doing not telling me about my doctor's appointment?
You go in the fields, work all day, way every night, but you get no pay. Promising meat or a little bucket of lard. It's hard to be a renter on Penny's farm. It's hard times in the country out on Penny's farm.
Judgment Day has finally come. I know you told me I'd get it in. This is just terrible. What are we gonna do? Go back to driving a combine again. Everyone knows what happened down at Springfield. Frank, I ain't gonna start begging, so don't even mention it. No. Just gonna have to think about a way to land us a new job, that's all. Let's see. All right. Mr. McGinnis has about 15,000 acres. Could probably use a good manager like me. Start talking to Mr. Jennings, and after that, there's a snowball's chance he'd bring me on. I guess we're gonna have to move back to Cookville and work in the shoe factory. Well, how do you expect me to find another job around here? Not like folks owe me any favors. Yeah, Rosalind? Yeah, this is Jasper. Is Mr. Jennings there with Doc Roberts? Oh, no, don't bother him. How long do you expect he'll be down there? Uh-huh. Oh, he's getting warts removed. And he's got a lot of them. Yeah, so about an hour or so? Well, yeah, well, don't worry about telling him I called. I'll just talk to him when he gets back to the office. Yeah. Uh-oh. Frank, I think I got this figured out. I think folks around here will be real happy to have Jasper Crooks around when I finish up with this. Hey, Mr. Rollins. Hey, Jasper Crooks here. Well, yes, sir, I'm doing fine. Yes, sir, Frank Pulver's fine too. Thank you. Sir, I've got something pretty important to talk to you about. Something I think you're going to be real happy to hear. Oh, no, I can't talk about it over the phone. Yeah, if you could just come on over here to the back house right now, I'll explain it to you then. Oh, yes, sir, it has to be right now. It's kind of a time-sensitive issue.
Well, Crooks, what's so important under God's green earth you can't tell me on the phone? Hey, is Jenny's gonna let me use his combine for free maybe this year?
Well, thank you for coming over so quickly, sir. Well, Mr. Jennings and me, we got to talking.
Yeah, I'm sure y'all were, buddy.
Yes, sir, and I was looking through the almanac for this year, and you haven't happened to look through the almanac yet, have you?
Rogers and I thumbed through it the other day.
So, you know what they're saying about this summer coming up, huh?
Yeah, this summer's supposed to be so hot, the trees are gonna be bribing the dogs.
Yes, sir. Oh, well, I showed that to Mr. Jennings, and well, me and him got to talking, and we thought it might go a long way towards making things a touch easier on you. We dropped the rent just a little.
You don't say.
Yes, sir. Got the books right here. I recommend it. We drop it $5 an acre.
$5 an acre? Well, what did George say?
He said he thought it'd make it a mighty nicer summer for everyone.
Don't that be all?
I have here that you've got 3,300 in corn and another 7,800 in wheat. That sound right?
Well, wait just a minute, let me look. Right here, yeah, that's it.
So
That's it.
we'll bring it down to $70 an acre, and that should save you.
That would give me enough to make a deposit on a new combine. You're all right. I don't care what other people say about you. With me, you're all right.
Well, if you'll just sign right here, sir.
Yeah, sure. Where do I sign? Right here?
Mhm.
Yes, sir. Sign away. Listen, you need anything. I appreciate the way you're looking out for us. You're a good man. You're a good man. And son, this is big. This is big. I'll tell you what, you take this, and you know your little dog Frank.
Yeah.
You buy Frank a nice steak dinner, know what I mean? And take care of him. By the way, where is George?
Oh, he's out till late this afternoon.
That's all right. I'll see you out the blue and white tomorrow. Buddy, we're gonna have a good year. $5 an acre. $5 an acre. Well, now George don't drink nothing stronger than Coca-Cola, so that ain't it. $5 an acre, are you sure?
Yes, sir. If you'll just confirm these numbers. 4,500 with corn, 3,300 with beans, and 5,200 with wheat.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Well, heck, Jasper, I'll tell you, Georgia finds out about this. Y'all gonna have a pie in here every week, fresh. I guarantee you. We'll cook you a pie.
Well, Miss Gleason does make a mighty mean cater on that pie.
Yes, she does. Goodness me. Jasper, son, you have done it. You just have done it. Now, of course, I don't use that almanac that much. Everybody knows that it's right about as much as it is wrong, but yes, sir, you have done it. Yes.
You'll just sign these numbers, confirm it.
Right here?
Yeah.
And hey, listen, Jasper, next time you come to the house, won't you stop in? I got some of Johnson's old shine left. I'll put you back. Oh, yeah. That did just make sure Frank don't think that's what. And hey, look, you let me know anything else I do. You know what I mean? Hear me? Anything. Georgia ain't gonna believe it. She just ain't gonna believe it. Thank you, son.
It's our city is coming to town with a wagon load of peaches and a 1 hour sound. Gotta have his money or somebody's check. Paying for a bushel and you don't get a peck. It's a hard times in the country. I don't in his farm. George and his friends ain't coming to town, but their hands in their pockets and they're hanging down. Go in the store and the merchant will say, your mortgage is due and I'm looking for my pay. It's a hard times in the country. I don't need farm.
George, I could just kiss you.
George.
Jim called and told me what you did, and I think it's just so wonderful. You know how it is. You haven't forgotten. And with Jimmy going off to college this year, it's going to make such a big difference. George, you are such a good man. Thank you. Thank you.
Boss, give me Jasper on the phone. Jasper, what in the Sam Hill's been going on around here? George, you're the greatest. Nikki and Martha Owen. Jasper, boy, you better start talking.
It's been nice working for you, Mr. Jennings. I'll give Lois the key.
Stop. Now, you ain't going nowhere until I figure out what you've been up to. Why does everybody suddenly think I just hung the moon?
Best take a look at the books.
Jasper, what in the world have you done?
Mr. Jennings, Phil Spine's son just dropped this off, and he told me to tell you that his daddy said that he had never rented from so generous a farmer, and that Jasper needs a raise. What'd you do, drop the rent?
Thank you, Lois. Give us a minute here, please. How much you drop?
Just fine.
George Jennings. Oh, John. Yeah, that's right. 5 an acre. Well, yes, that is mighty generous of you, isn't it? It's Friday night? New steakhouse in Springfield. Well, that's mighty nice. Well, no, now I need to check with Jenny first. Yeah, I can let you know tomorrow. All right. Bye-bye. If tell them you've already been fired, they don't get the drop, and they ain't gonna like it. If I don't tell them and leave it the way it is, then I ain't gonna like it. Then what's $5? Jasper, when the good Lord is passing out gifts, he darn sure didn't short you on brains. Get on out here.
Down in his pocket with a trembling hand. Can't pay you all, but I'll pay you what I can. Been to the telephone, the merchant make a call. If it's on a chain gang, don't pay it all. It's hard times in the country. I don't think it is fun.
Lights coming on, close your eyes. All right. What'd y'all say? What'd you think? Are we in church? What is this? On a furrow brows out there. What are y'all showing me?
Go back and read the parable of the shrewd manager.
Well, guess what? I'm gonna read it. We're gonna read it here in a second. We don't have long though, so we don't have like, we'll get to talk more about this next week. But what did we just see? And this was biblical, except for the moles part that was thrown in, all that stuff. Guy with the stained shirt.
I think this happens more than you know in business.
What happens?
One guy cuts the rent.
Who cuts the rent?
The guy that's really not in charge.
Why does he do that?
Taught him a lesson.
Taught who a lesson?
His boss.
Oh, so he's teaching the boss a lesson. Okay. What else do we say?
It's interesting that the boss accepted it because he didn't want to look bad to the,
Yeah.
you know,
So,
all the folks.
yeah, because it made the boss look really good,
Right.
right? So the shrewd manager made a decision that made both of them look good.
Mhm.
And then it would make the boss look really bad
If he,
if he turned back on it. So kind of smart there.
The Jasper's dishonest, and what he's done is he's set up, he's set up a baseline to continue to do things of that nature to get his boss caught up.
Yeah.
He's playing one against the other, but you know, ripping off the candy, although
yeah.
may
Yeah.
not be considered dishonest.
Yeah, so first of all, the boss has to talk with Jasper to say, hey, dude, you've done something. We don't quite know what it is, but you've done something where you've stolen from me. You've done something bad. And he doesn't say he didn't do it, but he's certainly standing there quietly, basically admitting guilt, right? So we know the guy's a bad guy. And he's, you know, stealing the candy out of the drawer, and his solution to the predicament that he's put himself in is probably not a biblical solution, right? It's taking something that's not his and giving it to somebody else.
I'm confused why he drove in on the old beat up red truck and walked away.
I was.
So
Because
if
it was a
you heard
truck.
it,
It
yeah.
said leave your keys.
But so did he quit?
He got fired. He got fired.
He was
Well,
still fired.
He was still
He's
fired?
still fired.
Yeah.
Maybe he is, maybe he's not. So we don't really know like what the end result of his. Yeah, so at the beginning, he says, you take the truck, go wrap up the stuff you gotta do and then come back. And that's why he was kind of walking away then. And at the end, you sort of see him walking, but obviously somebody who's happy with him stops and says, hey, jump in, we'll give you a ride. So kind of just that small community where everybody knows everybody. And now this is happening.
It reminded me when I was laid off why they escorted me out of the building.
Yeah.
I mean, he said just whatever, but you know, they meant, hey, we're gonna have someone with you. And I've been there for 32 years, but they still escorted me out of the building.
I thought of that too, like, obviously that makes for a very weird situation, but when you compare it to this, you can see the logic of it. Like, wait, maybe that's the right thing to do. Not to you, David, but just in general.
Free crackers for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So let's read the actual parable real quick. And it's I was debating on, do I read the parable first? And the lesson says, show the video first and then read the parable. So they've done this a lot more than I have, and this is their lesson. So
Mark, can I ask you a question before you read that?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you watched this prior to sharing this with us?
Yeah.
Did you, after reading the parable, did you draw the correlation to what you saw versus what you read?
well, let me read the parable and you'll see if they correlate or not. So the biblical text is from Luke 16, 1-9. Jesus told his disciples, there was a rich man whose manager was accused of wasting his possessions. So he called him in and asked him, what is this I hear about you? Give an account of your management because you cannot be manager any longer. The manager said to himself, what shall I do now? My master is taking away my job. I'm not strong enough to dig. I'm ashamed to beg. I know what I'll do so that when I lose my job here, people will welcome me into their houses. So he called in each one of his master's debtors. He asked the first, how much do you owe my master? 800 gallons of olive oil, he replied. The manager told him, take your bill, sit down quickly and make it 400. And then he asked the second, and how much do you owe? 1,000 bushels of wheat, he replied. He told him, take your bill, make it 800. The master commended the dishonest manager because he had acted shrewdly. For the people of this world are more shrewd in dealing with their own kind than are the people of the light. I tell you, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourselves so that when it is gone, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings. Luke 16, 1-9.
That said he did the right thing.
So well, first of all, you tell me, is there a correlation between that parable and what we just saw?
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah. So, yeah.
This is a little bit more Hollywood-esque.
Yeah. So what?
Saying he did the right thing.
Jasper did the right thing.
Yeah.
How so?
Because that's what it said.
Because the Bible, because the Bible says.
Read those last two verses.
Okay. The master commended the dishonest manager because he had acted shrewdly. For the people of this world are more shrewd in dealing with their own kind than are the people of the light. I tell you, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourselves so that when it is gone, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings.
Mark, I think I may have figured it out, is that Jasper realized that his boss has been screwing people, pardon the language, ongoing. So he's like, okay, you're gonna can me for doing something what you think is dishonest?
I'm gonna
Take this.
show you.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I get out of it.
But that worldly wealth thing.
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
Use it to gain friends,
Yeah.
basically.
Interesting.
Influence.
Not the same.
Next Sunday's gonna be interesting. And all this week.
Yeah.
What shrewd means.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
Are you looking that up, Amy?
Yes. What does shrewd mean?
Right. Well, there's the taming of the shrew. This is different.
Yeah.
This says
This is not that.
having or showing sharp powers of judgment.
It's not by in and of itself bad or evil being true.
And he says to him in the video, like basically like, wow, you're pretty smart.
Yeah. And remember, this is Jesus telling us this. So there's something in here that we need to take away and be like, well, Jesus basically said the guy should steal from his master and that feels dirty, feels wrong, feels like we're missing something. Well, let me tell you what, we are.
In my point of view, it's just kind of how can I put this? Turning the tables on his boss, because his boss is cheating his tenants, and then when his manager goes and decreases the rent, you know, everybody in town is like, oh, thank you so much, thank you so much. It's almost like a I want to say everything's a Scrooge story.
Well, let me just clarify right now. The boss has done nothing wrong. So it's not like the boss is, there wasn't anything in here saying the boss was cheating anybody or the boss was being bad. The boss is just conducting business, and this is an agreed upon rent. Everybody had agreed upon $75, and Jasper comes in and says, I'm gonna make it 70. So there's no like, oh, the boss is, so that's not kind of this hidden meaning of the boss is a bad guy. Boss is a good guy.
So you read through verse 9?
Yes, 1 through 9.
Why does it not keep continue on verses 10 through the?
That's a great question. And in fact, we will talk next week about, what's that? Yeah, we'll talk next week about what was in Luke 15 up through Luke 16:1, and we'll talk about what was in 10 and on, because the fact that it's contained within, this wasn't a one-off parable. This was contained within several parables. So we'll get to that. So, but it's good to think about that this week. And I'll tell you, I love Sunday. I love lessons where I don't feel like I've kind of told you stuff that you probably already know, because I've always wondered about this one. And it's like, this is a hard parable, and I never quite got it. We'll talk next week about what this really means, not only in their time, but in our time, and what we can take away from this. So this is one that I'm like, man, I'm glad I signed up for this, because I feel like I'm a little bit more enlightened. And I don't want you guys to think when I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, this is obvious. I was great. Explain this a little bit more to me. So go read, in fact, go back and read this whole section, not just 1 through 9, but read everything that Jesus said, and come back next week and we'll kind of piece this together and come to a much better understanding of what we're supposed to take away from this. So, let's go to God in prayer. God, we just thank you for giving us your word. And we thank you for the fact that it's not always easy. And we do have to spend some time thinking about what you're telling us and why you're telling it to us. and then what we can take away from it. Because if it's easy, we take it for granted, but if we've got to dig into it, we get to spend more time with you, more time understanding you, and just creating that relationship with you even more. So thank you for this. Help us just to go this week. Think about this over the week. Read the Bible. And just, again, as always, thank you for sending your son to die for our sins. These things we ask in your son's holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Remember that here, the bus is here till 2 o'clock. There's power, wonder working power in the blood. So go get you some lunch, come back and give if it feels up.
Great job, Mark. Thanks, Mark.
Nice job, Mark. Chris, it's always a pleasure, brother.
It is great. Mark, are you playing next week?
I'm not doing next week. Was that?
You're out of town next week?